are the only in a room, you're gonna code switch to sound more like the folks that you're in the room with, then maybe write what you would naturally want to experience.
But is that also a kind of role?
In doing so, don't sacrifice who you are.
Yeah.
But that's your core.
I think we also ask, in prior generations, and what my parents felt like when we came to the United States was that my children need to assimilate. My parents specifically stopped speaking our native language at home. We want to be American. My brother does not speak one word of German, but I speak it fluently because I lived overseas. But he felt at the time in the 70s, you had to assimilate, you had to fit in. Whatever that fitting in was, right? There was a sort of like inherent recording in my mother's head. To this day now, my parents have now lived here for 50 some odd years. They don't speak their native tongue to each other. They speak English only, which is in one sense good, right? They're truly Americans. But something got lost in that process. But that commonality, I think, was what they were told they needed to do so that their children could achieve the American dream, right? That was kind of, and some of that has been kind of lost in this process. But you shouldn't, to your point, you shouldn't lose yourself in the, to assimilate shouldn't mean you should be losing part of who you are either.
It's about leveraging it as a strength and not like, I'm not coming into a space and doing that, right, to be more digestible for you. That's not it. I'm doing it because I'm like, okay, how can I get my point across in a way that they'll understand, and then I can make an impact here and take back my messaging and so on and so forth. So it's my job to step into that room, be comfortable, be able to, I guess you could say assimilate or whatever the case may be, but it's with a purpose. It's like, I snuck in here and I just put that message and you heard me because I was able to say it in a manner or do it in a manner that you could relate to. And now I can open the door for someone else who might not have been able to do the same.
That's the important part of my mind.
It's a strategy
Correct.
to an end, not a giving in
Exactly.
and giving up a portion. Will be more effective in this environment.
Correct.
You're raising a child, and you, if I may say so, and tell me if I'm wrong, are incredibly adept at working in a world other than your own that you grew up. That's all I'm going to say about that, right? What do you say to the child who's now a young man, a woman, what do you say about on this issue? Do you say, learn my lessons, it'll get you further in life? Do you say, retain who you are, but have strategies? What do you tell?
For me, I want them to have the ability to be a chameleon and adapt. I want them to have the ability to be strategic about who they show up to be at a given time.
Yeah.
I want them to have that skill. But at the same time, don't give up who you are as a person.
Because that's the only way you're going to be able to be the other in the room.
Right. Exactly.
And have any sort of credibility. That's why I agree. I go back to, I don't see it as a bad thing. I see it as a life skill.
I agree. It's all in how you do it. What's your purpose in doing it? So as long as you remember your purpose, then you're fine. But the second that, to that point, you're almost giving up a piece of yourself to accomplish it, then we missed it. We missed the mark, we lost the purpose. I mean, and this is read the room. Like, okay, I'm not going to come in here, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is what my daughter I say all the time. I'm like, you're in school. This is a different environment than when you're hanging out with your friends. Something as simple as that. Know how to behave. That's the difference. That's when you get those comments from teachers like, oh my goodness, she just did this, da, 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 da. And then that's the difference. That's how we see it play out. So I never want anyone to think that it's a negative because it is a survival skill. It is the way that we open doors for others. And then, in a way we let them know, like, hey, this is what that mentorship is about, right? Like how to get people in those rooms and how to have those conversations. Like we talk about interviews. Talk about something as simple as interviews. Okay, there's a certain way to present yourself when you interview. Are we just going to set any level, or is there a certain level of professionalism, right? Like, so I take it back to that. I just think that, it's a slippery slope. but as long as you understand your reasoning for it and you treat it as a strategy, rather than as a necessity or a, oh, I have to change who I am, just to be able to be digestible for these individuals, that's the difference.
You still need to be your authentic
Right.
self while doing it, because whether you realize it or not, people know when you're not being authentic.
1,000%.
They may not tell you. They know. You know when you walk away from somebody, you're like, yeah, right. You know?
Calvin, at this point, I just want to say, you speak so well.